Совет главных конструкторов, коллеги федеральных.
Colleagues, Federal Space Agency colleagues, State Commission has listened to all of the reports about the preparation of the vehicle and the ground support services, and we are ready for the mission. And on the 29th of March, we decided to launch Soyuz TMA-08. And today we are going to approve the cruise. So please, I am giving the rostrum to Sergei Konstantinovich Kurkalov, the head.
Спасибо. Уважаемые члены Государственной комиссии,
Dear members of the State Commission, for the Expedition 3536 to the ISS, we have prepared the following crews. Prime crew, Pavel Vinogradov, the commander, FE for Expedition 35 and 36, Alexander Misurkin, FE for the ISS, and Christopher Cassidy, FE2 for Soyuz and FE2 for the station. Oleg Kodov, commander of the Soyuz vehicle, FE on board the station, Sergei Ryazansky, FE for the Soyuz vehicle and the station, and Michael Hopkins, FE2 for the Soyuz vehicle and the station. The preparation program has been completed successfully. Everybody passed all exams and comprehensive training sessions. The State Commission comes to conclusion that the crews are ready for the mission, and Intergovernmental Commission reviewed the results of the tests and exams for the preparation of the crews and concluded that crews for Expedition 35 and 36 for Soyuz TMA-08M and the Russian segment are ready. And the whole program for the pre-launch activities has also been successfully completed. Prime crew for TMA-08M is going to be Pavel Vladimirovich Vinogradov for the commander, Alexander Misurkin for FE1, and Christopher Cassidy for FE2. Backup crew is going to be Commander Kodov, Sergei Ryazansky FE1, and FE2 is going to be Michael Hopkins. The report is over. And now the word goes to Sharon Kirk-Weldon, the deputy head of the ISS program.
Gentlemen, you've completed your training, and it's been a wonderful to watch you go through that experience. The ISS and the teams in Houston are ready to support your flight.
Ladies and gentlemen, well, crew members, we are glad to announce that you have completed your training.
There's a lot of work, a lot of research, a lot of actually visiting vehicles to come visit you in space. So we wish you a safe trip and enjoy your stay on board ISS.
So let's listen to the crews. Pavel Vladimirovich. First of all, I would like to thank everybody, all specialists on the launch pad, everybody who supports the launch and prepares the vehicles in Moscow and in Samara. Our crew is ready, and we will do our best to not let you down and to carry out all the plans. I would like to thank for the trust that was given to me, and I would like to wish us good luck. Dear Commission, we are choosing the 4 orbits approach and docking. We are ready for the mission, and we are happy that we were entrusted with this honor.
Expedition 35 and 36 is ready to launch at night between 28th and 29th of March.
По результатам заседания Государственной комиссии, которое состоялось,
According to the results of the State Commission that took place a half an hour ago, the following crews were approved.
Commission that just half an hour ago has approved the crews as follows.
основной экипаж
The prime crew is the commander of the vehicle and FE for ISS, Pavel Vinogradov, commander of Expedition 3536, Roscosmos, Russia.
бортинженер,
FE
бортинженер
1 for the Soyuz and ISS, Alexander Misurkin, Roscosmos, Russia.
бортинженер
FE2 for the Soyuz vehicle and ISS, Christopher Cassidy, NASA, the United States of America. The backup crew, commander of the Soyuz vehicle and FE1 for the station Court of Oleg, FE1 for the Soyuz and the ISS Sergei Ryazansky, Roscosmos, Russia, FE2 for the Soyuz and ISS Michael Hopkins, NASA, the United States of America. The crews are all excited and they're ready to answer any of your questions.
High spirits and are ready to answer your questions. You're welcome to ask your questions.
Наталья Бурцева, студия «Роскосмос».
Natalia Burtseva, Roscosmos.
Конечно, экипаж.
First of all, we would like to congratulate the crew on their approval and wish them all the best. I have two questions. One is more technical and another is more emotional. The technical one is the 4 orbits launch and docking, why it was not possible earlier and why we decided to choose it and use it now, and can we make the approach to the station even shorter? Hold on, let them answer the first one. Otherwise, they will jump to the emotional one. Well, as for the 4 orbits approach and docking, it all started about 3 years ago. We discussed it in RC Energia, and we were thinking about the vehicle, and Raf Murkazin, Nikolai, and I, Petrov came up with an idea that maybe we can make the flights faster. And at first, everybody was very apprehensive about it. But later on, our ballistic specialists calculated the possibility, looked at the rocket, verified the capabilities of the Soyuz vehicle that now has a digital command and control system, and the onboard computer can do pretty much anything now. And that's how we slowly started to develop the idea. And about half a year ago, when we made quite a lot of calculations, we were sure that technically it's possible. So we talked to Alexander Popovkin, and to our surprise, Mr. Popovkin was very pleased and interested with the idea, so he charged everybody with different tasks to develop this idea, and we used this expedited launch and docking system for 3 progresses, and the Korolov specialists in MCC Moscow and in MCC Houston studied this new plan scheme, and everything looked fine. So now we're going to continue to use this expedited plan for future launches, and we are going to be using the 4 orbits launch and docking, but we are now already thinking about 2 orbits. And today, the capabilities of our vehicles and of our rockets are enough to do that. So at first we launched the cargo vehicles, right? So you will be like the pioneers. Well, I do not want to dishearten you, but quite long ago in the USSR and in the United States, such expedited schemes and plans were used. Americans used it for Gemini. There were a few missions when the crews were ready to dock within 1 or 2 orbits. It was pretty difficult and strenuous for the crew, but now our capabilities are completely different and updated and allows us to carry out any dynamic operations on orbit, so we are very sure in our success. Next question, please. And the emotional questions. Well, before, the families never came to see the cruise off, but recently all the families can't come to see off to the Cosmodrome. Is it a great moral support for you, for people who are ready for such a difficult journey? Or is it strenuous for you, or is it a morale boost? I know that Alexander's wife stayed in Moscow. Why did she choose not to come? Do you think it's good to have spouses seeing you off? And I would like to hear the opinion of all the crew members. Well, my FEs are asking me to answer for everybody. Well, I would answer for myself. I'm glad that this tradition came to be. I'm very happy to see my wife and my daughter here. I think it's a good tradition. Sasha's wife did not come, not because she didn't probably want to or he didn't want to, but she has little children. But I will let him explain.
I completely agree with Pavel. It's really a privilege for me to have my wife, 3 kids, mother, father, and brother here, and I wouldn't trade that for anything.
Я полностью согласен с Павлом
I
Владимировичем.
totally agree with Pavel.
Такой возможности, что мои родители, папа, мама, брат, жена с детьми здесь со мной в такой момент. Я очень счастлив такой возможности.
Что могу сказать, Наташа, на твой
Well,
вопрос?
what can I say to your question, Natasha? Of course, I absolutely agree with the commander and Chris, and I hope that it is my first but not last mission. And my son, Alexander, who is only 2.5 years old, and he is the eldest, and it's a little bit hard for him to adjust to the work and rest schedule for us. So he will be monitoring the situation from the MCC Moscow. Okay, thank you. Next question. First channel, Peter Deragin. My first question is to Pavel Vinogradov. The media announced that you almost got into the Guinness Record book. So how did you manage to do that? Well, I don't think that being the oldest is a big achievement. I would love to be 40 years old or maybe 30. I don't know why I'm so lucky, and I'm 60 and I am completely healthy and have the opportunity to fly to space. I love my profession and I can't imagine doing anything else. So for as long as I can, for as long as I have enough health, I will stay in this profession. As for whether it's difficult or not, well, it is difficult. As for 30, 40, I don't know. Well, it's hard to compete with them, but I will do my best. I would like to add that Pavel Vladimirovich is going to celebrate his 60 years on board the station, and for now, he will be one of the most awarded crew members, active crew members, and The second question?
К Кристоферу.
The second question goes to Christopher. You're an experienced military man. So, do your qualities and knowledge, training from your military professional will help you in this mission? How are you going to draw upon your experience and strengths?
I think the number one quality for a good crewmate is to be a team player, and that's in the military or in space. And that's exactly how I feel with my two crewmates, is that we're one team ready to go and do the mission.
Марине новости космонавтики.
Marinin,
Поздравляю вас.
Новости космонавтики, news of cosmonautics. Congratulations, crew members Sergey, Oleg, you're just great.
Вопрос у меня такой.
My question is as follows.
Уже знаем
We know quite a lot about
научную программу.
your scientific program, and we know less about the US experiments. But Pavel, Sasha, you are very experienced, and this, one of you is very experienced, one of you is not. So what are you going to devote your free time on board to? Well, I don't think that my interests have changed from the previous missions. I will be most of all interested in the atmospheric processes, what is happening over our planet, and I will try to observe thunderstorms that are happening in the upper layers of the atmosphere. It's a very interesting phenomenon. It has not been deeply studied, and I will do my best to, this is my personal goal, to expand this research. And of course, I can look at our planet for hours, and that's what I would probably devote my free time to.
Yeah, I agree. Our channel, Kanal Adin, is the window.
Игорь, половина моего ответа.
Igor, half of my answer is in your question. You said yourself, I'm not an experienced crew member, so I am sure that for the first half of the mission, I will devote most of my free time preparing for the next workday.
Rob Navius from NASA Television. I have a couple of questions for Chris Cassidy. Chris, first of all, take us inside the Soyuz for a moment with you and your crewmates and discuss the complexity of this expedited 6-hour sprint to the space station from not only a crew workload standpoint, but also a crew comfort standpoint. And I have a follow-up.
Thanks, Rob. From a crew technical point of view, we feel pretty comfortable with this. All of the procedures are very similar to what we do on the 2-day process. And we've trained it a number of times. So that part we're very comfortable with. But what's very challenging to practice on the ground is the coordination of getting from the SA up to the BO at the appropriate time to stretch our legs and to do any personal hygiene that we need to do. And for those of you that haven't had the opportunity to see the Soyuz, it requires a coordination between the three of us to close and open the hatch and get up to the BO. And we have a few opportunities where we know we can take advantage of that and have some time to get up there and do just those things.
And for Chris, your 5.5 months on orbit will see the arrival of virtually every visiting vehicle that services the space station, plus for you and your crewmates, a series of spacewalks on both the U.S. and Russian segments. Discuss, if you will, the complexity and pace of this type of work over almost a half year on what will constitute one of the most complicated expeditions ever.
Well, you're right. There's quite a few spacewalks and visiting vehicles that will occupy the schedule. But the nice thing about that is our time horizon, instead of being 5.5 months long, becomes 1 week or 2 weeks until we look for the next major event. So I think with all these visiting vehicles, in English we say we're two guys in a truck. We'll just be moving cargo back and forth and unloading and reloading cargo, and that's fine because that means fresh fruit and vegetables will come on board. So we're very excited about that.
Да, спасибо.
Thank you.
Andrew Farmer from Russia Today. If I could ask this question in English, please. Could you explain the key experiments that you will be doing, or perhaps the most interesting ones for the layman down on Earth that will take place over the next 5.5 months, and also what you plan to do in your downtime, because there's been a bit of a musical precedent set in recent weeks up there, so I'd be interested to know what you plan to do.
For me, the most important, some of the most important experiments that we'll be doing will be on the human body, and how can we make people safe and more healthy on the ground. For instance, with bone health, those are several experiments that I will personally be participating in that I think is very important. And as far as the second part of your question, unfortunately, all the musical talent left Earth in December, and I only sing in the shower, and we don't have a shower on the space station, so there'll be no singing, I don't think, while we're there.
Well, you will still have to sing Happy Birthday for the commander, but we'll see how it goes. Next question, please. Valerie, Itartas. Well, you have changed your schedule for the day, work and rest schedule completely. Tell me whether it was difficult or not. And I see smiles from the support team and from the crews. Well, I think, first of all, the first 2 or 3 days, when we were transitioning to that new schedule and sleeping schedule, were the most difficult. And of course, it was most difficult for our support team and support specialists, because they have to work not only when we are asleep, but also when we are not asleep. So we have a strong feeling that they didn't sleep at all. So I think it is just another test for this new expedited launch. And I don't know that maybe later on our medical specialists will review all the aspects of such a plan and decide whether it's worth it. But of course, it's not an easy to change the whole schedule. It's not that we're sleeping badly, but our crew surgeons are monitoring us all the time. But I think that it's rather strenuous, not only for our support specialists, but for everybody. And maybe we will be able to find a new approach to this complete overhaul of a schedule. Pavel Vladimirovich told you a very mild version of the story. For you to understand, they go to bed at 9 and wake up at 5 p.m. And have breakfast at 6 p.m. So it's completely a crazy schedule.
Well, I have 2 questions. The first one, I know we've been talking a little bit about this 6-hour ride and how ready you are, but I would like to focus on the challenges that these 6 hours mean to you. And if you can just point out a few of the challenges, the main challenges that a 6-hour ride mean, instead of how cool it's going to be that you're going to get there faster. And how does it feel to know that you guys are going to be making history, being the first manned tripulation expedition going up there in 6 hours?
Well, we are the first crew that is going to use the expedited plan, launch and docking, but in 69, 68, in the 70s, there were missions, like, for example, the Gemini program. Soviet spacecrafts docked according to this plan. As for the advantages of this plan, one of the advantages is that the crew does not have enough time to be negatively influenced by zero-G. Of course, it will show itself and we will have the side effects, but within the first 4 or 5 hours, we are going to be fully operational and without any negative side effects.
Но с точки зрения
As for
плюсов, например, доставка, быстрая
some other advantages, for example, expedited delivery of biomedical drugs, or some other equipment and experiments that need to be started as soon as possible. And of course, you can't even overestimate the benefits of such expedited launch for the science and researchers who are working on the biological and medical problems.
ну и за такое короткое время можно экипажу, например,
Within such a very short period of time, probably the ice cream will not melt and the crew can get it.
Thank you. My second question is more of a general question for our audience. If you had to explain to a general audience what Baikonur means in the exploration of the space, what this cosmodrome means, how would you explain it? Just please forget about the big words and explain it to a person that, a general audience.
да, собственно, Байконур это
Well, Baikonur is everything for piloted space exploration. That was the first cosmodrome from where we launched Gagarin and Titov.
наши отношения
This is enough to show how we feel about Baikonur. It's almost like a sacred place for us. This is the gateway to space exploration. I don't have anything else to say.
Вот у нас дублирующим
Well, for example, our backup crew, Sergei Ryazansky's grandfather was one of the constructor general who started working at Baikonur.
вот сейчас Сергей здесь.
And Sergei is here now with us. Maybe he can say a couple of words about how he feels about this place, but it's pretty clear. Baikonur, of course, is a part of a great history. It's a big part of all of us, and it's a great honor for us to continue the history of space exploration, to which my family is also a part, and it's a big part of the history of our country. Well, since the backup crew has the microphone, let's ask questions. Let's ask them questions, and we would not like to overlook them because they are our future. And I would like to ask Sergei and Michael, people who are at Baikonur for the first time. I'm not talking about Oleg because he is an experienced one, but how do you feel about the Cosmodrome? I know that Michael was so excited about everything. Tell us what you thought, what you were impressed by when you saw Baikonur. Thank you.
Okay, I'd like to, start. We've been here for almost 2 weeks now, and every day there's been something new, something exciting for me to see. Every day there's also been new traditions that I've got to experience that help tie the astronauts, cosmonauts of today with those that have gone before us and those that will follow us. And on a personal note, probably the most impressive thing that I've got to watch is the Soyuz rollout and watching it stew up on the launch pad. Absolutely amazing event.
And of course, for us, being here is a continuation of our training. And it is interesting, it is great, it is exciting course or study that will culminate in September. Well, Michael explained everything in a more detailed way when he spoke about traditions, and I know that you had an unplanned stop when you went to the city, to the museum. Could you tell us more about it? Well, besides the usual places and sites that cosmonauts and astronauts usually visit, we went to the monument to my grandfather. It was very important for my father, and it was on my request. And of course, I was greatly pleased, and I'm thankful that the crew visited it with me. Thank you. That's great.
Hello, if I could ask one question generally about space exploration. Roscosmos recently announced its plan for the next 2 decades, and in it it's said that it would like to put men back on the moon. As astronauts and cosmonauts, does that excite you, and is it reassuring?
Ну, во-первых, безусловно.
Well, first of all, of course it's possible.
Скорее всего, человечество, конечно.
And most likely, humankind is not going to stay and just orbit the Earth. So we are going to Mars and to the moon. It's hard for me to comment on the plans on Roscosmos. I think everybody knows them, and there is nothing really new that I can say here. But of course, we have joint plans between Roscosmos and NASA, Roscosmos and European Space Agency.
Там достаточно амбициозные планы.
The plans are quite ambitious, and we are planning on building a new vehicle in Russia. There are a few new spacecrafts in the United States, for example, and the plans are very extensive. And I'm absolutely sure that they will come true, and we will only support flying more and farther.
Перевести можно, да.
Can I translate, please?
Actually, Roscosmos plans are not a big secret at all. Guess everybody knows it. But as in general, as answering your question is, of course, I hope and I'm sure that the humanity will not stay flying around the Earth, circling the Earth orbit only. I'm sure that we will fly further to the moon or Mars and everything. And we're getting some new ships prepared, designed here in Russia and in the US. And we have a lot of cooperation with our partners in the USA and European partners. We have many coordination with our partners and a lot of plans together to move forward beyond Earth's atmosphere.
I would like to just point out that crew members carry out tasks that they're given, but the tasks are going to be decided by the needs. And what if they had to fly for 12 months? And I would say that they would be ready to fly for 12 months.
Say all of you that
what the management decides
are not interfered into planning the space exploration programs. They're just fulfilling the tasks that they're given. And for example, right now the 1-year flight is ongoing. And if I'm sure that if the crew, this present crew, was given the task to fly for 1 year, they will be ready to do so. So let me repeat again that cosmonauts are just doing and fulfilling the tasks provided by the people who are actually doing the program, making the program.
Thank you very much. That was the last question. Let's thank the crew.
Let's thank our crew.
Спасибо.
Thank you. Traditional picture. Yes, that looks better. Okay, let's leave only the prime crew. Let's do it the same way. Pavel Vladimirovich. That's it. Good luck.
I think the crews are really well prepared for what's coming up for them. Like you said, they have a tremendous amount of activity during this flight. Lots of visiting vehicles, ATV, HTV, potentially an orbital demonstration flight, just a tremendously busy period. Then also the spacewalks that have been planned this summer, and they're prepared for those, and also prepared for the Russian spacewalks coming up. So again, I think they're overall really well prepared for all this activity. But I think the other thing that kind of goes below the scenes is really the science that they're doing, that they are really set up to do some really quality science and some really quality research during this expedition. So not only will there be all this visiting vehicle traffic, but really the purpose of all these vehicles is to bring quality science to them so they can get the latest equipment up on orbit, so they can get the latest research and really keep turning out the production and really bringing the research level up to a new high level here on station. So a busy increment in many ways, lots of traffic, lots of EVAs, but also lots of quality science being done on the space station.
A lot of attention has been drawn to the unique single-day launch to docking that these guys are involved with. It's been rehearsed, obviously, with unmanned progress vehicles up to this point. Now it's time to try it on a crewed vehicle. What are your thoughts on the whole concept of this express lane to the space station, 6 hours from launch pad to home?
So it's funny because people here on the Earth will look at this and say, wow, that's really quick. In reality, it's not very far to the space station, a little over 200 statute miles. So you'd think in 6 hours it's not that hard on the surface of the Earth to go that far. In space, though, with the velocities we're talking about, that's quite an achievement. A lot of the heavy lifting, the really hard work, is done prior to the launch, actually, to make sure that we position the space station, we time it so that on the day of launch, when the orbit of the space station passes over the launch site, the angle between where they are and where the space station is small enough for us to capture it in 4 orbits. So a lot of the work is done by the ballistics teams, weeks and months before the launch. When it actually occurs, the crew's ready to go, the teams are all ready to go. It'll be a great experience. There's lots of variables associated with this. Of course, the team being able to track the vehicle and get the data up to the Soyuz to perform the burns that they need to, as they need to occur. The crew being able to monitor everything, and of course there's always space adaptation sickness. So the crew has to not only monitor the vehicle, but their own physiological health and make sure all systems are acceptable to dock in such a short period of time. If none of that is working just perfectly, we have the option to wave off and go into our normal 2-day rendezvous sequence. And we've been doing that for 26 years. Actually, I read an article this morning about from the ballistics expert who designed this 4-orbit rendezvous, and he talked about making a decision back in 1986. And so between 1986 and today, they've been doing this the normal 2-day 34-orbit rendezvous. But they're all ready to go and try this 4-orbit for the first time with the crew. We've been doing it with unmanned vehicles, but this will be the first time with the crew. Lots of things to learn and understand, and we'll learn from those things and then make a decision about subsequent crewed flights, whether or not we'll do the 4-orbit rendezvous.